Yes, everyone, welcome back to the Football Philosophy Podcast. My name is Abdi, and today we're looking back into the Premier League weekend. What a week it was, guys. And today, guys, listen, I've got a great panel with me here today, just analyzing all the football from the weekend and maybe a bit of transfer news, maybe a certain person coming back to his hometown. So, guys, yours truly, Trey, welcome back to the pod, bro. How are you?
I'm all good. You know what, man? I'm just excited right now because obviously Ronaldo is back into the club. The King's back, and I know that's just going to lift the dressing room. But look, I don't want to talk about that too much. We've got two great people that's obviously on the show today. We've got Nathan Best. I call him the best one, and obviously we've got Jesse in as well, man. Jesse, I love the Jamaica top, by the way, man. Representing.
Thanks,
Come
man.
on, come on.
Yeah, man. You know what? Yeah, let's talk about Jamaica's potentially team that they could have. You have Michael Antonio,
Yep,
Bailly from Leon Bailey,
yep.
and De Cordoba from Fulham. That
They've
front
got
line,
Could
they've
have
got Morrison as well. They've got Morrison as well, right?
Morrison.
Ravel
Yeah,
Morrison
Morrison.
there.
Yeah. Could have Reece Nelson soon.
Ooh.
Could have
yeah, you
Mason
know what?
Greenwood.
Why not? Yeah,
Never know.
yeah.
Yep.
Could have Mason. No, but we have to see what happens. But yeah,
Yes, yes. Welcome,
it's looking
welcome,
good. It's looking
everyone.
good.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure that you hit the like button and subscribe. And you know what to do. Share it with all your friends. Share it with all the socials, man. And yeah, big up Abdi every time. Power to everyone inside. Yeah, mate.
Come on. Respect, man. Enough love for tuning in.
Yes, guys. So listen, I'm excited about Jamaica's team, and I would love to talk about that. Michael Antonio's celebrations, everything else. But listen,
Oh man.
guys, what a weekend! Because the way the weekend started was obviously everyone talking about Ronaldo going to potentially City, and then him ending up at United, and then everyone's looking to City's team. Obviously, they were playing against us, at the end of the day, but them scoring 5 goals just like that. But let's come back to that. Let's talk about how the weekend actually finished with United winning 1-0. Pretty dead game, but in the end, Mason Greenwood gets the winner. What did you guys make of it? Because for me, it was a hard, difficult to watch.
Well, to be honest, it's one of those games where, if United are to sort of achieve success this season, it could be one of those games where you look back on and think, you know what, you didn't play well, you came away with a win. Because obviously that's what title-winning teams do. You don't necessarily have to play well; you have to grind it out. I will say though, Wolves have been very unlucky in their first 3 games because arguably all 3 games, they lost 1-0 in all 3 of them. They should have won all 3. So I've got no worries about Wolves. I think it was highlighted during the game the midfield concern because for the life of me, Fred gives me heart attacks every single week, and I can't handle it anymore.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I thought Rafael Varane, obviously Danny Mills was saying about how it's going to take time for Varane to adapt to the Premier League. It took him 90 minutes to adapt, and he put in a man of the match performance. It's like, well, what do you expect from a Champions League and World Cup winner? He was always going to adapt straight away. I thought the likes of, I think Bruno had one of his games again where he was trying stuff, but he just couldn't get things going. And obviously Greenwood, it's going to be interesting to see what happens when old Cristiano comes back into the mix. What happens with Greenwood's development? Because Greenwood, for me, is like this season. I think he's back to what he was season previous when obviously he bagged 20 goals in his debut season. But yeah, you can't really complain. 7 points out of 3. The Southampton game was a bit was always going to be a tough game away from home. Wolves is obviously one of those bogey teams traditionally for United over the past couple of years. So
yeah.
Compared to what United have had in the past couple of seasons with their starts, because I think on his first season in charge, it was like win against Chelsea, draw against Wolves, and 2-1 against Crystal Palace, defeat.
Yeah.
So compared to previous starts, United have started well, and this weekend it was sort of like I said, didn't play well. You get the 3 points, you can't really sit there and complain. Obviously, it makes it even better when rival fans are angry at you for winning the game, but that's what
That's what it's about, man. That's what it's about.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, 7 points, you can't really complain. Oli coming out at the end saying, yeah, great result, but obviously the performance wasn't great. Now, there was a lot of people moaning and complaining, as usual, on Twitter. Trey, I'm going to come to you next year. But Trey, Jesse, when you look at the performance in general from United, it's obviously not the greatest. It wasn't the greatest performance. And apart from little periods in time of the game, there wasn't even like half a chance for United apart from the goal that they scored. Even the goal itself wasn't even a half a chance. It was like just Greenwood taking a chance and then it ended up in the back of the net. You look at the creativity that this team have in Bruno and in Pogba. Why is everyone crying out for a holding midfielder when they have these two players who can pass the ball for fun, who can create so many chances? What is it gonna matter if they bring in a defensive midfielder and basically that's gonna solve everything? I don't understand how that's gonna work.
No, it's necessary. It's really needed because of the reasons that you just said. They're the creative players. They will get on the ball, make things happen. But we need someone that can screen, protect the back four, but also start attacks and get the ball off the defenders and be able to create things for us. And
But
it was
Pogba
evident
and Bruno are capable of doing that. They can
no,
get
they
the
can't.
ball from the defense and midfield and take it up to the, like, for example, Greenwood didn't have a single service the whole game. He didn't get a single chance from the creative players. The only goal that he scored was a pass from Varane. Why
Yeah,
is it that we can't
but
get
that's
Pogba and Bruno to be on the ball?
no, but they get on the ball in different areas. But you still need someone that can get on the ball centrally from. Obviously, Pogba can play in the two, but we still need someone to play with him. And I thought we saw with Fred in that game that it's evident that he's a liability for us. And what we saw in that game yesterday, there's quite a few, especially in the first half, counterattacks where a good DM will stop or intercept certain situations from happening.
Agreed,
and
yeah.
I think that's why it's like really necessary for us to still try and get one. I don't think we will, but it's evident that we need one.
Yeah. Trey, what did you make of Neves' performance? Was that something that can make you say, yes, that's the midfield that United need, or is it someone like more traditional, hard tackler like Bissouma or Kessie?
For me, obviously, you got to give one Ollie credit for experimenting with that formation as well. I feel that formation 4-3-3 was sort of a formation that us fans we wanted to see Bruno and Pogba both playing that number 6, sort of number 8 role. That number 8 role. In fact, so they both in centre midfield, and then just having one player just sitting in front of the defenders. Like what Jesse's saying, I definitely feel that if we could get a proper DM, Laka Ndidi, Laka Bissouma, Laka Kessie for Mason Milan, if we can get that type of sort of profile of a player that could just sit, we wouldn't see opportunities like what we saw against Wolves. And Fred, for me, can't play that position. But if we don't actually sign a DM, for me, I think McTominay could possibly play that role. If I was to be a sort of betting man, and I thought, if we have to use the resources that we have, I think McTominay could play that role.
Yeah, Nathan, what do you make of it all? Can you see United going? I mean, in the next, people are talking about James leaving right now. 30 million, 40 million bid.
Yep.
Could you see United actually going for a holding midfielder until the deadline or before the deadline?
Well, the talks are like Camavinga's been sort of touted around the whole summer, and obviously he's only got a year left on his deal. I think it's imperative for United to get one because when he was saying about how sort of play about Neves and whatnot, Neves actually in that game against United, he actually convinced me because it was just more he was just playing out from deep. You see some of the passes he was making and stuff like that out to the wide, and it's so sort of those 5-10 yard passes are like what Michael Carrick used to do back in the day, where it just splits from defense to attack and you transitions, and then those passes eliminates the opposition's midfield, so the opposition midfielder on the back foot. But Camavinga's been touted. There's also Sal Niguez as well. Because obviously United and Chelsea are in for him. But I do think
don't see how he's any different to Fred. To be honest with you,
No, it's
No,
a big improvement. Trust me.
Yeah,
Fred,
much better than Fred. Much better than Fred.
levels.
but the
It's
soul
like-
of
it's
before
like
his
what we
injury,
saw.
though,
It's
the
like
soul of
Fred to cut you off.
2018, 2017, 2018, that soul, I'm impressed with him. You know, when he scored that dribbling goal against Bayern, that was his best season. Since then, the guy hasn't been the same.
Well, in all fairness, when it was sort of before he went to Arsenal last summer, I actually thought United could have gone for Thomas Partey, to be fair, because I thought he would have been absolutely perfect.
Thank God we didn't sign him. Thank God. He's injury prone. When was the last time he was fit?
Because at the time, because I remember he had that performance at Anfield in the Champions League, and he just bullied the entire Liverpool midfield with likes of, the apparent greatest team ever at the time and whatnot. But now I think it is imperative that United do sign a CDM. I think McTominay can probably do the job. I think if you're looking in-house as well, I was surprised that United didn't sort of try and give the likes of James Garner a chance, because James Garner's another one as well where he can play deep and he can screen because he's got that Michael Carrick sort of body frame as well where he does himself. But I think it's imperative that United sign a CDM. But obviously, with the it's all dependent on outgoings. Obviously, Daniel James it's confirmed now he's on his way to Leeds anyway.
That's a good move.
Obviously, we don't know what's happening. We still don't know what's happening with Van der Beek. Matic, it's like he has like 3 good games a season. He gets a new deal on it. So but yeah, for me, it's imperative that United do sign a CDM. Preferably for me, I'd go Neves. I'll just slap 35 million on the table, just grab him.
Yep.
So, I think. Do you know what? I think we spoke about this last time I was on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Any of the guys we've been linked with would improve the midfield. Like the ones we've spoken about, some of the ones that we haven't spoken about, they would all improve that position. And when you look at the teams that we're going against for the top 4 or for the title, they all have players that can play in that position.
Yes.
And we all see the benefits of having that. So we definitely need to sort that out if we can.
You know what?
What Nathan just said is true. Matic probably would have been our best one, but his legs are gone. And he has like 2 or 3 good games a season. McTominay can do it for a game. He couldn't do it for a season. So we do need to sort it out, 100%.
For me, I'm thinking in my mind, look, Leicester are a team that's trying to push for a Champions League. If I were sort of speaking to Ndidi's representatives, I would tell him, look, mate, you're going to be playing Champions League football here, so step up. And I'm sure nothing more than 30 mil would get the job done. But I agree with Nathan. Neves, we should just go straight in for him. And I think that justified that he would play that role really well. And I would be happy even to see Neves come in as well. That would be a good signing for us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. No, I agree with all of you guys. They do need that holding midfielder. But for me, where I'm coming from is not just to defend, but just to be on the ball. And Fred gives the ball away way too many times. He gives it away too many times. But what I want to see from Bruno Fernandes, especially from Bruno, is him coming back and helping out to get the ball from the back to the front. Try to do that as much as you can, because Cristiano comes in, he's not going to do what Greenwood is doing sometimes, where Greenwood goes into the left, onto the right, or sometimes Bruno likes to basically go behind the defense, sort of like that false number 9. But that's not going to work with Cristiano.
But you don't want Bruno that deep. You want Bruno starting from higher up the pitch.
Higher.
So
where's the creativity going to come from then? It's like
it's going to happen
but the guys that we also talked about. So Neves can get on the ball, make things happen. So could Pogba in the 2.
Yeah.
You don't need Bruno picking up the ball off defenders and trying to,
Well, the thing is, if I was an opposition defender and stuff like that, and I saw Bruno at the halfway line collecting the ball deep, I'd be like, cool, leave him there. Do you know what I mean? Because I'd be like, because the part of 4-3-3 and stuff like that, is sort of you need one person to be sort of sit deep dictating things, and you need 2 progressive midfielders in the likes of Pogba and Bruno. If you've got like a front 5, say Pogba, Bruno, say Sancho, Greenwood at the minute, because obviously Rashford's injured and Ronaldo going at you, the defensive midfielders sit there, like he's a screen the back four. You know, if you lose the ball, he's there to pick up the loose ends. You know, and he can spray the ball from deep. But I think it's more the fact that, like, in relation to Fred and McTominay, like, I think you'd still play them, but you only play them against the likes of Man City. Because against City, they're brilliant, and the reason why is because they don't have the ball as much.
Exactly.
They can do the off the ball running and things like that. And but with Fred, he I don't know about you guys, he always plays as if it's 90th minute and you need a winner. There's no there's no calmness about Fred. Like he gets the ball and it's like so
erratic. Yeah.
Because there was a point in the Southampton game where he was dribbling the ball between his feet, looking up, and he just pings a 5-yard pass 5 yards behind Wan-Bissaka after a throw-in. Yeah. And I was like, just calm it down. Like,
and with that moment that you're talking about, he was under no pressure.
Yeah,
there was no one around him. He took a touch and passed out a play. You know? There was moments in the Wolves game where they was on the counter, and he just looked lightweight as well. Like,
Trincao, when Trincao went through, he literally sat Fred down. Like, Fred was literally stripped, because that was when Wan-Bissaka obviously made the block on the line.
Big up Wan-Bissaka as well, man. That's my Congolese brother right there doing the job, man. Like, come on. You know, he gets a lot of disrespect as well, Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, it annoys me.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
But the defense, I thought the whole defense played well yesterday as well, to be quite honest. Varane, like Nathan said, was brilliant yesterday for his debut. Intercepted, won a few headers. He done really well. So did Maguire. And Shaw, defensively, done really well yesterday as well. It was a big test yesterday against Traore.
He was a little bit poor on the ball. Look, Shaw.
I don't mind that, because it's a one-off. And we got tested defensively yesterday severely. And I thought him and Wan-Bissaka done really well.
And I think as well, we would have probably drawn that type of game last season. But I feel that, like Nathan's saying, these are the type of games you need to win to be in contention for winning a trophy. And I feel that we can look back and think, you know what, that 1-0 win against Wolves. Look at the amount of times Sir Alex Ferguson's done this. He's done this so many times. 1-0. Even Chelsea, during that period where Mourinho come in, look at the amount of 1-0 wins that he's had. So I feel these results are important.
I agree with you guys. Obviously, it was a great result going into the international week anyways. For me, the way I see it is, obviously we're spending way too much time on United. We've got so much to talk about. But what do you expect when you have 4 United fans here?
I know. We're the only ones that had the balls to come in.
One last thing I would say is, for me, it's about the structure of the team. You know, if the team is structured and they have good balance on the ball, this team is a team that's built to take risks on the ball, not a team that's built to just relax on the ball, look after possession, take your time, and just move defense from side to side. We don't see that. If I don't see that Hollywood pass straight away, that forward pass straight away, it's like it doesn't go anywhere. It's just so frustrating to watch. But Jesse, what are you going to say?
Yeah, but what you're saying is true. But that's kind of been the problem for the last couple of seasons, really. And it's been like games like yesterday. It's been moments of brilliance that's winning us a game, or it's just a maverick type of moment that's been winning us a game. But Wolves played well though yesterday. They played really well. And you can see what obviously the new manager's trying to do. They create loads of chances against us. They're playing a bit higher up the pitch. They're moving the ball extremely well. They played really well.
So on top of that, they had Daniel Podence coming on, who was one of their best players last season. Trincao coming from Barcelona on loan, very good player. Adama Traore just needs to improve his finishing.
But he's a nightmare for us yesterday. He caused havoc. So I think once it sets into place for them, I think they'll be comfortable.
Yeah. Let's talk about one team. Yeah, let's talk about actually the former manager of Wolves. This is a man who gone to Tottenham, 3 games, 3 wins, 3 1-0s, and the team that he came from, which is Wolves, 3 games, 3 losses, 3-0, 3 games losing 1-0, without scoring a goal. What the difference between Tottenham this season and the Tottenham that we've seen last season, even though they started really well the season with Jose Mourinho, is that there is a bit of attacking fluidity about this team. Yes, they're not scoring a lot of goals, but there is something different about Tottenham this season. Are we? What do you guys make of yesterday's game? First of all,
well, I didn't actually I didn't catch it because I think it was at the same time, or I think I was watching Burnley Leeds instead of the Tottenham game.
The United game, isn't it?
Yeah, because I think the Burnley Leeds game was actually the one that was televised, not the Tottenham one. So that's where Sky's priorities are. They'd rather put Burnley on TV than Spurs. But
Tottenham scored a world class free kick. I would say, the keeper should have done better, but it was a good goal.
But, I think with Spurs, I think they've sort of they've gone a bit under the radar. I would say, because I don't think a lot of people sort of expected much of them so far this season. Obviously, they're top of the league in a minute, but you can't read that much in August, because Arsenal started the league top of the table, now they're bottom. So it's one of those things. But now with Spurs, I think, like I said, they're a bit more sort of attack minded with Nuno in, because obviously they've got they've never had a bad team. Spurs, if you look at like the last 5 or 6 years or so, they've always had the talent there. It's more when it hits that final crunch stage, they always just falter. Even under Mourinho and Poch. But now Son's obviously started the season really well. He's got 2 goals in 3 games. Eric Dyer looks as though he commonly I'm saying this. Eric Dyer looks as though he's got a new lease of life under Nuno. Obviously, you got the Portuguese link there because obviously Eric Dyer spent majority of his young career at Sporting Lisbon. Obviously, you've got this sort of culture embedded there. But no, I think Spurs. I think they've also done well in the transfer market. They've also got that Pape. Is it Pape Sarr? Highly rated talent from France. But no, I think Spurs have done well. I think for me, I've got Spurs. I think I had them as 5th this season. I think they were just missed out on Champions League, but I could see him. I could see him potentially winning that Europa Conference League. I know it's not really something to big like.
No, that's big for them.
But
like trophy's a trophy. But I've been impressed with Spurs. But and I think it's a North London derby in a few weeks' time, and that's going to be a bit interesting. Also, when we talk about Arsenal and that. But been impressed with them.
Yeah, Jesse, what did you make of? Obviously, Harry Kane now is back in this team. Obviously, that relationship that he has with Son, that connection is unbelievable. I was watching the game yesterday as well, and I couldn't believe that Son is still at this club, because even though the guy is just signed a new contract, he's very good, man. Like, obviously Harry Kane needs to put everything behind him, but going forward right now into this season, what is the best thing to do right now for Harry Kane in terms of, like, obviously just knuckle down, work with this guy, what you have here, the players that you're playing with, but how do you mentally come back to this? Like, how does it happen?
It's just a job. He's a striker. He's just got to put the ball in the back of the net, really, and just move on from what happened. He's obviously come out and said that he's staying. So that's just put it all to bed. I'm sure the Spurs fans will forgive him. They just wanted him to stay. And once he gets the first goal in the back of the net, I think he needed international duty as well. I think it would be good to kind of get a break from this whole situation, go with England, get a couple goals maybe, and then come back and just hit the ground running. But I think in terms of Spurs, I think they're doing really well at the moment, man. It's just a new lease of life for some of the players like Dele Alli. Skip's coming to the team. He was obviously good on loan at Norwich, and he's just hit the ground running. He's looked really good so far this season. Højbjerg obviously just continued, picked up where he left off from last season and the Euros, and they're doing well. And the one thing I like what Nuno's kind of brought really to the team is I think he's made the counter-attack a bit more potent. So we know he likes to set up his teams. They can sustain pressure, and they're kind of organised and structured. They don't really need a lot of the ball, and you can kind of see that already in the Spurs. But when they get on the counter, they're like really good. Yeah, and like Nathan said, Eric Dier's been really good so far this season. Tanganga's done well at right back so far. So yeah, they're doing well. I think they just signed before we came on. I think they signed Emerson Royal from Barcelona.
Wait,
I think they got done there.
wait. So
Yeah.
wasn't Arsenal linked to him? Wasn't Arsenal linked
Yes.
to him?
Yeah, I think there was, but I think he
Oh.
chose Spurs.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, Nuno's doing well so far.
Yeah, I don't know what that means for Doherty, but yeah, that could mean that's it.
Done.
He's
Finished.
out of there, man.
Well, for me,
Yeah, great. I'm gonna come to you. Yeah, go on.
I think it means the end of Aurier. I think out of the two, I'd rather
Yeah,
keep
that's
Doherty
what I
over
meant.
Aurier.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Okay,
Mm.
I would keep Sergio Aurier, honestly.
No, he's a
Doherty.
car crash. He's a car crash, man.
He's like
Yeah.
Fred at
Yeah.
right back. I just like
Yeah, he'll have Aurier will have one or two good games, and he'll just like some
Yeah.
kamikaze moment that will lead to a goal. It's just good to get rid of.
Yeah,
Mm.
I still can't forget the penalty that he conceded against Fulham. I was just like,
Exactly.
Oh,
That's
that
what I
was-
mean.
yeah. Yeah, guys, listen, Tottenham, great start. Nuno Espirito Santos, I like this coach. I think they have something great to achieve this season. I was expecting them to finish around 7th, 8th, but I think they can finish even higher than that. They still have Leicester to compete with. There's so many other teams to compete with in terms of getting to the top 4. But let's talk about a team who's actually not competing with anyone right now apart from Norwich City. Yeah, Trey. You look at Tottenham, top of the league, first.
We're
Yeah.
talking about 20th.
I thought we were speaking about Burnley. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm joking.
Let's. All right. Come on. No, yeah. We listen. We have to do it. We have to do it. Sorry, Arsenal fans, but this has to be done.
It has to be done, man. It has to be done. No,
3 games
no
played.
remorse.
3 games played. Tottenham first in the league. Arsenal last in the league.
Wait, 3
20th.
games played. 3 games
3
played.
games lost.
No goals. Conceded 9.
Yep.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So you look at yesterday's game, for example. Yeah, you have Holding, being outscored, being outwitted by Gundogan in the air. Gundogan, who's a midfielder. This is not the first time it happened. It happened last season with Sterling. The same issues happening again and again. You look at the starting lineup. The team, 8 of the players that played were signed by Arsene Wenger. Yeah, Kolasinac is starting for Arsenal in 2021. Holding, Chambers. This is ridiculous. I'm trying to be serious.
Sorry. Yeah.
You know what?
Watch that game.
Sorry to say this, man.
No, you watched that game,
It's so crazy what just happened. The way they set up the team as well. Let me just deep the way they set up the team.
Yeah.
So they thought, okay, let's put 5 defenders at the back. They thought, okay, we're gonna try stop them from scoring goals. First few minutes. So what happens? What happens after? You put 5 at the back and you concede early. Game plan out the window.
It's done.
It's done.
For Man City
Morale
to
is
score
cooked.
2 headers against you, with the small players like Gundogan and Ferran Torres, and last season to do it with Sterling, there must be something seriously wrong with this club and with this manager.
Yeah.
The team selection, I keep coming back to this. If you want to defend, you start with El Neni. You go with El Neni. Even if you have to play him, why not play Xhaka as one of the back 3? Even if you're that desperate that you have to play Kolasinac, why not put Xhaka in there and put El Neni in the middle?
Why
Come
not
on,
play
Ah,
Saliba? Why not get Saliba back on loan? Like, what's he? I heard he's playing good in France right now. So I'm thinking,
Yeah.
why is he not giving that boy?
It's the Arsenal effect. You generally play better at other clubs than you do at Arsenal. So
Yeah. And then, look, and even we saw AZ Maitland Niles on Instagram pleading to leave the club because he's not getting any minutes. He just wants to play fullback, but he can't get any game time in this team. They're a mess. They're an absolute mess, and I think it can only get worse. And I know there's a lot of fans that they want to stick by Arteta. They want to, be loyal and give him time. I think if he gets the whole season, they might be in the Championship because I know, they're missing players. There's a few injuries and things like that, but they were shocking, man. and I know it's Man City, but they've just been dreadful the whole season so far. They're lacking in all areas, not just technically. There's no goals. There's no work rate. There's no desire.
Heart.
There's no heart. There's nothing. I mean, you know, they beat the West Brom reserves, I think, 6-0, and they was over the moon with that, and they thought they turned the corner, but it's just not good enough from them, man.
Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is with Arsenal, right? I sort of compare this team with, like, do you remember the old Liverpool team when you saw like Paul Konchesky and stuff like that? Right, yeah. You know,
Downing and Joe
Cole. Yeah, you know, the glory days when football was right. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like, do you know what it is? The culture of the club has completely been drained out of them over the last, say, 10 years or so. Because if you look at, like, say, like Klopp at Liverpool was brought, before winning anything, he installed the culture back. You have to make a team that's likable for the fans you can get behind. I don't think any Arsenal fan looks at that team and go, yeah, like, you know, this team can do well. I mean, because if you look at their first 3 games, like Brentford opening day, you know, Friday nights under lights, it was sort of a perfect game for Brentford to have, if that makes sense. Sort of, you kind of
set up, man.
Yeah, it was set up. However, the next 2 games, like, there's no shame in losing to the European champions in Chelsea and losing to Premier League champions in City, but it's how you lose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, say if you lose but you show fight, then it gives fans something to hope for. But there's players at that club, like Bellerin for me is a waste of space. I'm not an Arsenal fan, but if he was my right back, Jesus Christ, I'll hand him my season ticket. Do you know what I mean? Like,
he cares more about fashion and his Instagram than he does the game.
If you see some of his fashion choices, it's still very questionable. I still think his fashion choices are as bad as his defending. Yeah. But it's like you got
even worse.
Yeah, but Abdi, you mentioned the likes of like Xhaka and like putting El Neni in, but even then, that's like, if that's the quality Arsenal have to rely on, it's not really something you can, because El Neni, like, he's a solid player, but he's not going to sit there. He's not the level.
I just don't understand it. I just want to know what.
I think that also the problem with Arsenal that they're going through now, we're seeing it in this window and even previous windows, is they're getting rid of players in the wrong order. So Ainsley Maitland-Niles moves on, even though he really should be in the starting lineup. Yeah. I don't know what's happening with Saliba. He's not even played a minute for the club, has he?
No.
Donyell Marlon as well, who's just now gone to Dortmund. They got rid of him, and look how well he's done, sort of, you know, at PSV, and now obviously he went to Dortmund to replace Sancho, sort of thing. But carry on.
Yeah, and
what about the AC Milan midfielder as well? Sorry, Jesse. The AC Milan midfielder. What's his name? Benassari? Oh. The AC Milan holding midfielder. They released him from midfield, from the academy. It will come back to me. Yeah, carry on.
But I just feel like I don't know what it is with Arteta, what he sees in some of these players, but I feel like he's getting rid of them in the wrong order. And some of
Let's talk about that, actually. Let's talk about that. Yeah? Him getting rid of players. What is that about? Yeah, because this guy seems to be getting rid of anyone that stands up to him, anyone who has the balls to actually say.
Guendouzi's another one. He should still be at the club. He's good enough to be in that starting lineup.
You know what's even crazy as well? Just for squad depth as well. You look at Joe Willock, for example. Look at how much of a good season that he had at Newcastle. Wouldn't you just have him in and around the bench anyway? He's obviously come through the academy. He deserves an opportunity to play, especially for this Arsenal team. Like, come on. Like, they haven't really got top players anyway. So I would have given him a little run-up, but they ended up sending him to Newcastle. So it's just like, I think for players that are coming up, they're probably looking at Arsenal like as a stepping stone to the next club.
It's a club that's lacking identity, and someone was mentioned something about the cultural issues of the club. If you don't address it, and if you don't get the basics right, it doesn't matter how good of a tactician you are. It doesn't matter if you're playing with 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1 or 5 at the back and 3 at the front. It doesn't matter what you're going to play with. The culture has to be right. Oli comes into United, and straight away he makes a statement. You know, whether you agree with it or not, I would rather have a hole in my squad than assholes. That's what he said. He lets players like Lukaku leave. Fellaini was the first one to leave from the door. just to get the culture right. This club, you look at the captain, the leader of this club is Aubameyang. That's the level that they are. For me, it doesn't matter about the tactics. Nothing to do. Yeah, the players can do this, they can do that, but for you to be playing Kolasinac, I just want to know what goes through your head as a manager to say, this is a man who I'm going to trust to play against Man City, the defending champions.
Yeah, can I just mention something about Aubameyang here? Like, what's your opinion of him? Because I think ever since he signed his new deal, I think he's one of those players that now he's got the big money, he's got comfortable. Because he strikes me as one of those players that, like, I'll go back to it. It's like Matic. Also, we've mentioned before that he'll play himself for a new deal, then he'll get comfortable. Do you know what I mean? Once he's got his new deal, he'll be like, right, he can drop performances. He knows he doesn't have to play at the required level to sort of merit that money because he's got that money. But with Aubameyang, it's like, so you see, like, at some points last season and at the start of this season, the likes of him and Lacazette are just absent. You know, and you don't know whether, like, because obviously it might be, say, COVID related. I mean, that's fair enough. But then the club's not really letting into that. The club's sort of like sending out a mixed message saying, oh, due to, say, personal reasons or like illness or something like that, sort of suggesting that, like, there could be something else going on behind the scenes. And I think as well, you mentioned about the players, stuff like that, and sorry for using colourful language here, but I generally think that since Patrick Vieira left in 2006, they've not had a proper, like, mean bastard in there to proper sort of grab the players by the scruff of their neck. Because you've seen over the years when the likes of Stoke were in the Premier League, they were bullied off the park. They've never had someone in there to just literally grab them by the scruff of their neck and go, right, say, 20 minutes of the game, we sort this out, we do this, that, and the other. They've got no natural leaders in there. And I feel for the likes of Saka and Smith Rowe and Kieran Tierney, because I think those three will sort of, because they're still relatively young players, they'll play for the badge. Whereas you see the senior players, I mean, even their transfer policy, signing like Jamie Carragher said it perfectly, signing the likes of David Luiz and Willian on a free. You know, it's like, what?
Shocking business.
Yeah.
Shocking, man.
Like, Willian just terminated his contract today, by the way.
Yes.
You know? So,
but I think
good on him.
But I think Nathan, you hit the nail on the head though. I think a lot of them are just, I think they're just there to see it as a job. They're just comfortable to pick up a wage. Yeah. William was on 240 grand a week. I don't really think he was there for any other reason apart from staying in London. I think he wanted to stay in London and it was the easiest move to make. No one else came in for him. And that's what I just see there. I just see a culture of players that are just not really bothered, man. Like the first game of the season against Brentford, like, they played with no desire. You know you're playing a team that's just come up. Like, they are gonna run their socks off, they're gonna work hard, their fans are in the stadium. And as soon as one goal went in, they just, you know, down. I don't want to say down tools, but I just don't really feel like a lot of them players. All right, we know they're not good enough, but then if you're not good enough, you can still pull it in. You can still have some desire, play with a bit of effort, and I just don't see that with this lot.
I think it's a collective thing. I'm not even going to lie. I think you're right with what you're saying, but also I think the players have lost faith in Arteta as well, man.
I think that too, yeah.
Honestly, like Aubameyang, for example, obviously I know he hasn't been the best since he signed the contract, but last season, how many times was he playing as a number 9? Most of the times he's been playing on the wing. For me, if you've got like a Jamie Vardy type of player who can score 20 plus goals, proven because he's done it previously, why wouldn't you play him through the middle? Do you know what I mean? Play the likes of Saka, Pepe, these wingers, so they can supply him the ball. There's been so many games where I've watched where Lacazette has had one-on-one chances where he's fluffed. Like, there was one game against Liverpool where he missed a crucial one-on-one chance. I thought if Aubameyang's in that position, he's scoring. So I think it's not only the motivation, that's also down to the manager for me. The manager's not motivating these players. The manager can't get these players to come up and play the way he wants because they've lost faith in his system.
Jesse, I'm going to ask you about this one, actually. I was, and Trey knows this, when Arteta came in, he won the FA Cup, and I used to say, in our group chats, I would rather have Arteta managing my team than Oli. That was my honest assessment of Arteta. But yeah,
Do you know
that
what?
was yeah.
Do you know what? When he first came, when he
changed my opinion. Yeah, go on.
no, but not necessarily him instead of our manager, but I actually thought he was doing well, and I thought he was gonna kick on from that first 6 months and improve Arsenal and make some massive changes there because they were getting some like really good results. You know, against us, against Chelsea, against Man City, they were doing really well. So I thought that he had the place like jumping again, and I genuinely thought I didn't expect this trajectory that they're on now at all.
Exactly. It's not even the results that he was getting, it's the way that he was getting it. He came in with an identity and he printed this team on that identity. He said,
but
we're no longer going to be the nice guys here. We're going to play against Chelsea. We're going to play against City. We're going to play against United. We're going to play against Liverpool. And we don't even want to keep the ball. We're going to defend and we're going to hit them on the counter. That was something completely different for me to see as an Arsenal team. So I thought to myself, imagine if this guy actually is given a whole window to bring in his own players, then he can improve them. But
he wasn't, and
I think Edu's let him down. If I'm honest with you, Abdi, man. If
has he though? No, that's what I want to know. Has Edu let him down, or has he let himself down as well as Edu?
They spent
200 million.
200 now. Wow.
But they have to be They have to be both blamed for this. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Yeah, I'm thinking to myself, Arteta, great manager. This guy's got a great future. But if he's given the right transfers, the right players, he can build a hell of a team for Arsenal. And he's given them money. Without his say, they don't sign Partey. They don't sign Odegaard. They don't sign Ben White. They don't sign any of the players they sign. He has to be part of it. That's what I'm trying to get at.
I will say though, you mentioned about saying when Arteta won the FA Cup and stuff like that. When managers, like we've seen in recent years, when managers win trophies in their first season, it doesn't necessarily establish a long-term success. Mourinho came into Man United and won of course, when he won the treble, but we're not counting that, that glorified,
the glorified treble, yeah. That's just Mourinho.
So for all intents and purposes, he won 2 trophies first season, but he never established a culture at Man United. Van Gaal won a trophy in his first 2 seasons at Man United, never established a culture. Roberto Martinez won the Champions League, never established a culture. Well, at Chelsea's different because they sack managers. They get rid of managers like anything. But with Arteta, I will say that with the money situation and things like that, like it's well and good spending money, but it's who you spend it on. Like 30 million Aaron Ramsdale, the guy's got a proven relegation record at every team he's been at.
I don't understand that signing. I really don't understand that signing.
But I also think as well, a part of I'm not blaming the fans here, because I think the Arsenal fans are entitled to sort of demand a bit more success on the pitch because of the high standards they've had in the practice. It's like how Man United fans demand success because of, they've seen their team win league titles and Champions League, stuff like that. But I also think the caliber of players they're linked with, or Arsenal fans hope they can bring in, they're not going to get anywhere near them. They need to accept the fact as well where they are at the minute. It's like Aouar, for example, has been linked with Arsenal for about 4 or 5 years. He's still not an Arsenal player. It reminds me of the time when Higuain was linked there for about 4 or 5 years. Those sort of players. But going back on the culture thing, it's like I say, if you look at Ollie and Klopp, I know Ollie's had a bit more spending power to his detriment, but he's still got an idea of vision in place, and eventually trophies will come. It's like with Klopp, it took him 4 years to win a trophy, and he won the Champions League. You have to establish a culture, I think, before you actually embed it in, because once you establish the culture and trophies start coming in, everything just falls into place. If you win trophies just like say first season and going, okay, right, that's it, I don't have to change anything, then you're going to set yourself up for failure essentially. And I think with Arteta, I think a lot of his sort of reputation, I generally think that if he wasn't next to Pep, I don't think he gets the Arsenal job. I generally think that they could have potentially swayed. Like
I'm gonna come back to that point.
Yeah. Brendan Rodgers would do a better job for me. Brendan Rodgers would do a better job at Arsenal. Like 100%. Eddie Howe could probably do a better job at Arsenal.
100%.
Sean, I'm not even jesting.
And Sean Dyche as well.
Sean Dyche is a better manager than Arteta.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, listen, guys. Right now, I agree with you. A year ago, I wouldn't have agreed with that. But Jesse, you wanted to make a point. Go on.
I can't remember actually. But but what Nathan says is true. There's a lot of managers in the Premier League now that are better than Arteta, and in hindsight, he wasn't ready for this job, and a lot of what he done in the first 6 months just could be new manager bounce. There's a freshness. Players want to prove themselves. New lease of life.
Yeah.
We've seen that at loads of clubs. We saw it even with us when Jose moved on. We've seen it with Chelsea now. We've seen it with Chelsea several times with different managers. But
so
you'd have to look at it and think, really, how many games does he have left now? Honestly, because that's 3 defeats already.
Yeah,
A much needed international break for them.
Yeah, much needed.
How many games does he have left realistically?
Well, like I said, they've got the North London derby in September. That's going to turn I think it's at Tottenham as well. So obviously, if Nuno gets one over Arteta, that's going to turn like.
Well, they've got to win the next 2 games. That's for sure. It's Norwich and another team.
Burnley.
Yeah, Burnley.
Or 2 6-pointers. So
Relegation
they do.
But maybe that's what they're thinking as well. If maybe Norwich and Burnley are thinking that's a 3 points guaranteed against Arsenal.
It's a 6-pointer. It's a 6-pointer right now. Because if they lose that game, that's, oh my god!
It's funny how it's so weird that Arsenal, they used to be head to head with us at one point. Remember, there was a period where this is when Oli first sort of come in. They were sort of on the same level, isn't it? They were sort of in the same level at one point. Oli and United were, with Arsenal at some point. Now we've just, and then Arsenal have just.
But that's just mismanagement. It's like really bad mismanagement over the last half a decade. Really, the poor signings, signings not working out. Not replacing people. They're letting loads of players. They're not selling players. They're letting them go for free. So they're not bringing any money back into the club to then regenerate and spend on players. There's loads of issues there.
Thing is, that was happening when Wenger was in charge as well. The whole recruitment process, because there were so many years where Wenger was keeping them competitive, like in the top 4 and stuff like that. But there was never when Leicester won the league. Or say during those years where Leicester won the league, Chelsea, Mourinho came back and won the league with Chelsea. There was always just 1 or 2 players off winning a title, and then if you neglect it for so many years, you've seen at Man United, right? When you neglect your positions or your team for so many years, teams will overtake you, and then they have to take a drastic sort of reshuffle to sort of try and get back competing to that high level. But what I will say with Arsenal is that with the games.
Remember my point.
Yeah. Oh, go on.
Yeah, go on.
No, because what I was gonna say is they spent a lot of money, but it was all much needed. And look, Ben White, I think Lokonga, I think they're going to be good signings for them eventually, or over time they'll be good players for them. But I think that's the thing; it's going to take a lot more money spent on that club, on that squad, and look, maybe a change of manager. But it's going to take time because of, like I said, the lack of spending. All the players that they had in before that have not worked. Pablo Bari, Cedric, these players are shocking, So it's going to take a while for it to start to settle into place for them.
And on that point, Trey, how long before Arsenal fans accept the reality of what the situation is? Because unless they're willing to spend a crazy amount of money on Antonio Conte, a manager like that who will come in, change the whole culture of the club, There's no quick fix for this club.
It's not even, to be honest.
Be realistic. This is the thing. Sorry, Trey.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
I think you or Nathan's just said it. Yeah, they've got to be realistic as well. Things like that are not going to happen. So you do have to look at your Sean Dyches or how Graham Potter. No, I'm being serious though. This is not a dig. Graham Potter at Brighton. They have to look at these type of managers with potential that can coach and bring a style of play in, and then obviously suggest signings that can come into that style of play. Because look, Conte is not going to happen. Conte wants not necessarily the most perfect situation, but he wants to know there's a certain amount of money. If he thinks there's something wrong with the squad, he wants guarantees that it will be fixed. And he's very particular, and if he doesn't get his way, he will just go. We've seen that 3 clubs now. He done it at Juventus, left Chelsea in pretty much in the same manner, and he left the Inter after he just won the league because he wasn't going to get what he wanted. So he is not a manager that's going to come to Arsenal. We have to be realistic.
Just quickly add on that. Do you know who would have actually been perfect for them before he got another job? Rafa Benitez, I think, would have been
100%.
perfect because he would have come in and he's worked with teams where he's been limited, obviously at Newcastle and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even Liverpool back in the day when they did have, say, the biggest of budgets. You know, if you build, it's like I said before, if you build a team that the fans can get behind, eventually the long-term success will come. If you use a team that the fans aren't going to get behind, then what's the point? But anyway, back to Dre.
No, 100%. Go ahead, Jesse.
Sorry, but I agree with Nathan because Rafa can coach. He can improve players. He can improve what he's already got. And we've seen him do it at Newcastle. Seen him do it, like he said, at the first time at Liverpool, and we're seeing him do it again now at Everton. They bought Gray for like 1.8 million. Townsend was a free. They've spent hardly any money, and he's got them looking like a different team from last season already. So, you know, but I think he had an issue with his contract in China at the time, so I don't think they could have got him. But I don't know if they even tried to get him. But yeah, he would have definitely been an improvement on what we're seeing now, 100%.
You know what, Trey, I'm going to talk to you about this actually. How important? Because you're the network man, in this group. You know how to network. You've got LinkedIn and all of this, How important is network and knowing the right people? Because someone said, if it wasn't for him working with Pep, he wouldn't have got this job. The guy has a great reputation among football coaches in the football industry. That's all he got this job for.
You know what's so crazy? Like, if you want to look at credentials, for example, Arsenal fans are not going to agree with me, but Patrick Vieira, for example, he's had some experience in France. He's obviously had some experience in the States, of course. I'm not saying he's a top-level manager, but you would maybe consider him before Arteta because they've got managerial experience. They've pretty much given a novice a situation which they're not going to get out.
This is the issue.
So they messed up from the top. So for me,
they didn't look at his CV. They just looked at his network. Who does he know?
No, they looked at that. He used to be Arsenal's captain at the time, and they thought, he's going to motivate these players to suddenly change up. But in terms of management ability, he hasn't got that, unfortunately. So it's from the top, man. So in my opinion, the only way to rescue this club is if they try and sell the club to some Arabs. So from the top, they start breaking down the team to the squad.
That Spotify guy, the owner of Spotify, maybe buys
it. No, don't do that because I can't be asked to listen to music here. No, say 5% on Arsenal Club Shop every song. You know what I mean?
But I know you lot just laughed when I said it though. But Eddie Howe has got more experience than this guy.
Yeah.
And
I was laughing at Sean Dyche.
No, but Sean Dyche how long has Sean Dyche stayed in the Premier League now? He's got enough experience, and you might not like his style of play, but it's effective. No, but it's effective.
Plus, as well, he'll install that sort of like hard mentality into the players as well. Do you know what I mean? He'll probably bring in a couple. Well, to be honest, looking at Arsenal backline, Tarkowski and me are better centre backs. I'm not even joking here. Tarkowski.
But you'll be going from a team that's playing like cats to a team that wants to play like tigers and lions. It's a bit of a too extreme, So I would say go maybe somewhere in the middle.
But who's the cats?
But who's the cats?
Who's the cats, Abdi?
Arsenal, obviously.
But this is the thing, and I think there's perception versus reality, and their fans want Conte, they want Allegri, they want these guys that are trying to win the league and trying to win trophies. They're not there. You need someone that has been around where you are at the moment, mid-table, a bit lower, and they can work with the players that you've got. They're not used to spending a lot of money, and they can improve the situation.
Okay, guys. Sorry, Trey, but let's talk about a team that's actually defending very well right now. Who, when a man down at Anfield, the cop at the end, just shouting at them, screaming, backing their team, and they stay resilient, so resilient. Like they don't even break a sweat, man. Let's talk about Chelsea, guys, because this game finished. Chelsea won, Liverpool won. Kai Havertz, amazing looping header. I don't know what the keeper was thinking, man, but he had no chance there. And then Liverpool equalizing through a penalty to Mohamed Salah. But let's talk about this game, guys. Like, what did you make of it all? And was it a penalty? Was it not a penalty? Was it supposed to be a red card? Was it not a red card? Trey, get us started here.
You know what? These are the sort of results, like what Nathan's talking about. That you go back and you look, you think there was a red card in this game, and the fact that they were able to get a point is really valuable. So I feel that Chelsea obviously going to be the happier team getting the point. The game itself, quite exciting. It was going to be the sort of acid test for both clubs to see who's going to actually be pushing for the title. And you know what? I think it was a fair game, to be fair, man. And you know what? It was a penalty. In terms of the card itself, I'm not too sure if I would have given the red card. It was a bit harsh, but obviously I know you boys are going to have different opinions about it. But good result for Chelsea, for me.
Yeah, with 10 men, great result. Nathan?
In all fairness, I'm still 50-50 on, like, this is going to sound really controversial. I'm still 50-50 on whether it was a penalty or not. And the reason why is because, yeah, he's made the movement with his arm, but it's like, in that situation, you're not going to, you're not going to stick your arm behind your back that quick. It's just a natural reaction. Like that.
Natural, yeah,
and when you
yeah,
lean into sort of, like,
yeah.
and when you lean into sort of defend the ball, say, with your leg and whatnot, you're going to move your arm as well, because you're not going to sort of go like, it's just, there are, like, in the current rule, and there's a penalty and stuff like that, and I can see why, but it was a bit sort of, the red card, it did turn the game on its head, because I thought Chelsea were probably well merited for their lead. They should have gone 2-0 up, but Mason Mount wasted a good chance. Instead of squaring a ball to Lukaku for my fantasy team. I mean, no, not my fantasy team, but like, I think Chelsea, they'll see it as a point. I think if you'd have said to them before the game started, go to Anfield, get a point, you'd happily take it, because it's like when you go for the league title, if you pick up 4 points from your rivals, say a win at home, a point away, you're not going to say no. You're not going to say no to that, things like that. Liverpool might see this as 2 points drop, because although they did have majority of the ball second half, they did have chances. I felt a lot of them were from range, though. I think Chelsea really restricted them in terms of creating clear-cut opportunities. Obviously, they got back into a penalty from Salah, good penalty. The header from Havertz, I think, was just... I don't think Alisson expected him to sort of, loop the ball back over his head, but... I will say, Liverpool-wise, I think a player who's actually really started well for him is Harvey Elliott.
Mm-hmm.
I think since he started the season, obviously they cream their knickers over Thiago, saying he's best thing since sliced bread, although what he does is pass the ball sideways. But it's like I think, like, he's keeping him out of the team in a minute. Rightly so. I think Harvey Elliott's done well. I think Chelsea started well defensively. I think they'll be happy with the point. And I think by their performance and the grit they showed, I think they well deserved the points. To be honest, I think it was a fair result.
Yeah, Jesse.
Yeah, I think it's a good game. It's an exciting game to watch. Chelsea were brilliant in the first half. They were moving the ball well. They were counter-attacking well, and I thought, they were well deserved. Their goal was a great finish from Havertz, but I think it was a penalty, to be quite honest with you, because there's not a lot you can do in that situation when you're defending the line. But he's standing on the goal line. He's moved his hand towards the ball. Once they decide to give a penalty, he's got to send them off, because it's a goal scoring. He's denying a goal scoring opportunity with his hand on the goal line. So, if you look at it from that point of view, it has to be a penalty and a red card. But yeah, for 10 men, they defended really well, man. Aspilicueta played well. Even before he got sent off, actually, Reece James was playing really well too. And Mendy pulled off a few brilliant saves for them in the second half, and they were good value for the point. But I think Liverpool will kind of take a point as well, really, to be quite honest with you, because they would have just wanted to have gone into that game obviously they want 3 points at Anfield, but they also don't want to lose to one of their main rivals for the league. So I think they'll be happy with taking that point, to be honest.
Absolutely. Both teams will definitely be happy with that. Now, guys, let's get into the last part of the show, which is to compare our, team of the week. So let's show you what we have here. Okay, here we go.
I have to remember what I picked now.
No, your team was proper. I saw your team. Your team was
I think my team, the guys ain't in the right position. The guys ain't in the right positions, but I can kind of explain it, I think.
Okay, so whose team is this? Trey, yeah? Trey, this is your team?
Yeah,
that's my team. Yeah,
that's definitely Trey's team.
That's definitely Trey's team.
Of course, that's my team. Obviously, we've got United back five with De Gea. Me personally, I just felt that the boys did well to defend. At the end of the day, they did their job. De Gea was faced with a few chances. He obviously looked like prime De Gea for that game. I've never seen that sort of performance from him from a long time. And I think just the back four was good, man. And then obviously going midfield, I've got Souček in there as well because I felt that during that win against Leicester, 4-1, come on. Like he was actually one of the players that, did their job defensively. And, Bruno Pogba, you just have to give them the sort of free roll to do what they like. And then you've got Son, obviously on the left, that's, going to work his magic and do what he does best. And Greenwood, you have to have the star boy there. In terms of, you have to. He's played so well and he's done a great job. And then Rafinha got him as the right winger in this team. So I felt that Rafinha is just so, when he's got the ball, he's very assured in terms of what he's going to do. He has the flair to get past the player, and I feel that he had a good performance. So that's my team.
Okay, that's a great team. I'm not gonna lie. Now let's talk. I'll come back to my team. Whose team was this?
This is mine.
All right, talk about your team.
Nice.
So I went for Mendy in goal because I thought he sort of withstood the pressure of what Liverpool sort of dealt. So I could have gone De Gea, but I thought, considering Chelsea did have 10 men, Mendy did sort of put a good performance. That's why I put Christensen in there as well. He got awarded the man of the match by Sky. I thought he dealt with. I think he's a very underrated player, Christensen. Obviously, he performed well for Denmark and the Euros. He started the season well. Varane probably had like one of the best debuts you'd probably see from a player like this season. He was fantastic. So was Wan-Bissaka. Cresswell was obviously started well for West Ham. My midfield's a bit it's a sort of midfield where when you start Ultimate Team, and those are the first sort of players you get.
Yeah.
But Demarai Gray, obviously, we said about him. He signed on the cheap from Leverkusen. He's got 2 or 3 goals in his first opening games for the club. He bagged again at the weekend. Conor Gallagher bagged twice for Crystal Palace. He got Patrick Vieira's sort of campaign off the start with a point. Ferran Torres has started brilliantly for Man City this season, as well as Jesus up the top, and obviously Greenwood speaks for himself. 3-3 for him. So that's my team. I think as well. One player for me he just missed out was Mikel Antonio. Obviously, Antonio started really, really well for West Ham, but that's my team.
That's a proper team there. Classic 4-4-2 formation as well.
Yeah, I'm literally just expressing my love for Sean Dyche for that formation. So,
well, you should have added Chris Wood in there.
I wasn't gonna go like that, Tim Pot. I just wanted to sort of maintain a bit.
The man who scored, Chris Wood's goal was actually the 30,000 goals in the Premier League.
Wow!
Scored by a Burnley player.
Do you guys remember who scored the 20,000?
I can't remember. No, who scored it?
All Brighton.
Oh my goodness!
Jesus Christ!
For Aston Villa when United won the league.
That's crazy. That is bad.
So I like your team. I think your team might be similar to mine, but let's go to Jesse's team.
Shades.
I was good. Like Nathan said, it was between Mendy and De Gea for the goalkeeper position. Mendy was brilliant, I thought, especially in the second half. But I just went with De Gea because obviously maybe a hint of bias, but he pulled off a couple of brilliant saves, and it did feel like watching the older De Gea, especially he played well against Southampton too, and he just carried that form into that game, and he played really well. Back four, as I said when we were speaking about them, I thought Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka defended really well. And Maguire did as well, but I went with Aspilicueta because, like Christensen, I thought he also had a really good game. He's organised, disciplined, communicating well. And I thought he had a really good game for Chelsea. And in midfield, I went with Buendia, obviously not in that position, but I went with Buendia because I thought he had a really good game, got on the ball well, scored a really good goal. And Grealish as well. Obviously, I think he started on the left for City. He's holding the width really well, but obviously, he plays really well in that inside left channel, and it was a really good assist for him. And I think he had a good game. And you have to have Gallagher in the team, man, because I thought he was outstanding.
Both of you guys got Gallagher.
He's outstanding, man. And especially second goal, great feet. It was a good finish. And I think he'll be really good for Palace this season. I think the same reasons Nathan, I went for Torres because I thought he was brilliant yesterday, man. Or on Saturday, he's brilliant against Arsenal. Good assist, 2 good finishes. And, I think this could be his breakout season. I thought, his last season was probably a bit of a development one for him. And I think you're going to see a lot from him this season, especially if, City don't go and sign a striker. I think he will get a lot of football and score a lot of goals for them. Mason has to be in the team. It's not even biased. I think he's been brilliant for United so far, man. And it was a good goal. I think he meant it as well, if I'm being honest. Maybe that's just delusion from me, but we've seen him score a lot of those type of goals on his right foot already. So I thought it was a brilliant finish for him. And I thought Vardy was brilliant again for Leicester. It's a good goal from him, good running, done well to set up the second goal. And he had a really good game. And I think he's someone that, I don't know for what the reasons are, I just don't think he gets the respect that he actually deserves, man, because I think he's a really good striker.
Yeah.
That
is fascinating, actually. About Jamie Vardy, for me, one of the best to do it in the Premier League. He doesn't get enough credit. You're absolutely spot on. I mean, I have to agree with your team because we pretty much went with the same players. Let me just see where I was different. So in goal, I've gone with David De Gea. This was a difficult choice for me because I thought Mendy played really well in that second half. I thought he made some fantastic saves, about 5 or 6 saves. The save that he made from Fabinho's shot, there was like a couple of so many other chances. Robertson also had a good shot and he saved it. But De Gea, for me, was a match-winning performance, 100%. Obviously, Wan-Bissaka's clearance was amazing, but De Gea just looked like to be, back to his best. That double save that he made, that's not something that you see every goalkeeper doing, nowadays or even back in the day. So, fantastic, man. Good to see De Gea back to his best. Hopefully, this Ronaldo, signing is basically motivating him now, making him think like, guys, I'm not here for £350,000. I'm here to win Premier League. I'm here to win the Champions League because this guy won the league title with United, So for him to be part of this team right now and to be part of Ronaldo's team, I'm sure that's going to motivate him and to play, behind a defender like Varane, a Rolls Royce of a defender, someone who has won the Champions League 4 times, who has won the World Cup, to play behind a defender like that, not a mediocre defender like Lindelof, let's be honest about it. It just motivates you. It motivates you a lot, Yeah.
I think that was a problem with a few of our players. I think a lot of the reason why some of them may have wanted to leave is for those reasons. When they're looking around the starting lineup or the squad, they're just thinking, can we actually win something with these players? But I think the window we've had this summer is definitely a step in the right direction. But before I don't know if we're wrapping up or whatever, but what's everyone's thoughts on Ronaldo, man? What's everyone's thoughts on it, man?
Well, I completely forgot.
On Thursday, I was saying things about Ronaldo that can't be repeated on air.
Do you know what's funny? I don't know. I don't know. Do you know what? I never said anything. I just never said anything because I didn't think he was going to come to United, but also
I didn't think he was going to see.
But how can you not think that, though? How can you not
I didn't think he was going to go City.
I thought it was a done deal. He was going to City.
No, I didn't.
Well, the thing is, it's like I finished work at 6 a.m. that morning, right? And I was like, right, how can things get any worse than this? Woke up to about 20 messages saying Viva Ronaldo, and I thought people were just taking the piss, right? So I was like, so when I checked Twitter, and I was like, I sort of saw it in stages. It was like City pulled out, United made a bid, you've accepted it, Ronaldo's coming back, and it's like,
wow.
Obviously, there was talk. There was. I genuinely think it is like to sort of defend Ronaldo here. I think if it was just City involved and he was still adamant to leave Juve, he would have gone City.
Yeah,
and no matter how much it would have pained United fans stuff like that, if City were the only option, it would have been like, okay, I'll go sort of thing.
I'm not gonna lie.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Jesse, you know what? I'm not even gonna lie. My theory is that I think Mendes fished out United, man. I don't think Ronaldo was ever gonna go to City. I think that was just a way of getting United to, step up their chances of getting Ronaldo at such a sort of good cost. At the end of the day, I felt that he was never going to go to City. He was given obviously the information from that Thursday, and normally when City get a player, it's pumped, it's done. But for that, it took a little bit longer than usual. So I thought, there's something wrong here.
So you reckon they were dangling? You reckon they were dangling the carrot sort of thing to United, so suggesting that City are in for him, and they sort of.
Did you not see how angry he was during the interview?
I think
saying stuff like, players that don't play, players that play for Man United don't play for Man City.
But they do
stuff like that.
No, but this is for me. I think it was true. I think the City stuff was real. Because look, Ronaldo's a winner. You have to remember that as well. Like he probably wants another Ballon d'Or. He wants another Golden Boot. He probably wants another Champions League or a league title. So I do see the links with PSG and City being real. I do think the order of the clubs that was sounded out in. I think he went there. I think he went PSG first. I think he then tried to look at City. Then I think obviously, with our players that are working in the media, they kicked up a fuss. They started talking, and obviously Ollie's never spoken in a press conference like that before about a player or about a player that we're interested in. And I think those kind of things obviously made a difference. Yeah. But and I think those are, for what Nathan said as well, that's why I never really kicked up a fuss. I never tweeted the snake emojis, and I never really got.
I did.
I know you did.
Abdi was angry, man.
Abdi was super angry.
Abdi was angry, man.
I was pissed off, man.
And I think
because for me,
but,
sorry to go over Jesse, but for me, I was just disappointed to even think that Ronaldo would be interested in joining Man City. I was thinking to myself, like, yo, listen, you've won. Even if United don't want to sign, you've won enough Ballon d'Ors, you've won enough trophies. Why the hell do you want to go to City? Why? That's what I was just thinking in my head. Like,
I think, man. But that's how driven he is. I don't think he's that sentimental as we are, as fans. I think he's just that driven that he just wants another trophy. It doesn't matter where he goes for it. But
another reason that I was really scared about him going to City is because I knew the rivalry between the owners of City and PSG owners. We're talking about Dubai versus Qatar here, Abu Dhabi versus Qatar. And you look at the rivalry, Messi signs for PSG, and these guys are thinking, yo, guys, come on, we have to compete with this. What's the best way for us to do this? And it's like signing Ronaldo, come on. So they tried to convince Pep to do it. Pep, at the end of the day,
said no.
And Pep, that's why he came out and he said, players like Ronaldo, they choose where they want to play. So he himself didn't want to sign Ronaldo, but he made it look like saying, it's up to you if you want to come join us. I'm not going to convince you, but you choose where you want to go.
Yeah, I agree with what you just said, Adi. I think it's more I think it's more the board and the owners that wanted Ronaldo for them reasons, and also because he's obviously a top player. But Pep came out and said that he wants his strikers to run. He likes strikers that run and work hard and press. And I think that was basically a hint at saying that he doesn't think Ronaldo does that type of thing. But I don't care if he does that type of thing. He's going to score 20 plus. He can play down the middle. And I think we need someone like that in the dressing room as well. We need that mentality and that like someone that's got those standards in the dressing room, because I think sometimes we're missing that.
Well, the thing is like with the PSG stuff, things like that. My theory all along was that, well, if PSG were going to sell Mbappe, it would have just made sense for them to go and get Ronaldo as a replacement, because like Messi, Ronaldo, and Neymar in the French league. I mean, obviously the only disadvantage is that they've got Poch as manager, but that's a different story, right? But it's like, I thought they were going to go and get Ronaldo at PSG because it would have been like, you would have been probably guaranteed a league title. You'd been guaranteed more chance at a Champions League. Because I always thought that towards the end of his career, obviously there's talks of, like, say after he finishes at United, he'll probably go back to Sporting Lisbon. It'll be sort of like a come full circle sort of thing. You know what I mean? You end your career at your start place. You have your twilight years of your career at the club that made you, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
I don't think he was ever going to go back there. I think he's so... I know they just won the league, didn't they? They went it unbeaten. He's just on trophies, man. I think he'll retire at a club that he can win trophies at. I don't think he's going to do the MLS thing, or even... I know it's different for Sporting now because they're actually in a situation where they can win the league. So maybe he would go back there, but I think he's just so driven and so on winning trophies that that's all he cares about, man. I don't think
the funny thing is that pundits have already started writing him off because they're going, "Oh, he's 36." Yeah, he's 36, and like Lukaku went for 100 million and whatnot. Ronaldo scored like 8 more goals than him in Serie A last season, and Juve didn't win the league.
But remember, Nathan, though, that's what the pundits do when United sign a player. As soon as United sign someone, they're shit, they're finished. Yeah. They're everything under the sun. They could have been waxing Liverpool about the week before. And then the moment we sign a player...
Yeah. Now, when I gave up was when we signed Varane, and someone came out and said Ben White is a better signing because he's a Premier League experience.
Yeah, that was sure right. Phillips turned around and said that. Yeah, Danny Mills said, "Oh, he won't adapt."
Danny Mills as well.
But what you have to remember, what you got to remember with a lot of these pundits, as players, we killed them.
Yeah,
like week in, week out. So no one forgets these things. They're still bitter. They're still angry and they're still upset about playing against United and Fergie time and all the rubbish that they like to say about us. Yeah. So I wouldn't expect anything better from any of them. And what I don't like Sancho, they're saying Sancho's crap now is just because it was Bundesliga. Varane or Ben White's better than Varane, or Sergio Ramos was the better defender. Yeah. It's just the same old bollocks, man. To be honest,
it's nonsense. You look at Varane, the performance that he had yesterday against Traore, Jimenez. Yeah, he was coming back from injury, but the guy just looks like he's been playing in this league forever. He just reminded me of Rio Ferdinand, someone with so much class, who knows exactly what they're doing, man. As Piliqueta, Trey, go on.
No, I was just saying he's reassured as well. He's obviously someone that brings leadership to the dressing room as well. It felt like in games where he was orchestrating the back as well, telling players to calm down, relax, giving these sort of instructions, telling Wan-Bissaka to drop in certain times. I think he's just the perfect player to have, man. But he should just continue with the team, man.
I will in a second. I've got breaking news here from Fabrizio Romano tweeted. Official bid from Real Madrid for Eduardo Camavinga. A bit more than 30 million euros. So that's Camavinga going to Real Madrid. Agreement to be finalized very soon.
Yeah, we knew he was gonna go there though. It was quite obvious that he was gonna go there.
So that's Camavinga out of the way.
Yep.
Yeah. Camavinga not coming to United. Then what's the next? What are they gonna do next? What? Saud?
Well, in fairness, I'd have just left. I'd have just somehow kidnapped Neves and left Fred at Wolves, but that's just me.
But do you notice though? One thing with us though, and I don't know if it's Woodward or who decides this. I feel like we've got way more. We're way more aggressive when it comes to signing players when they're a marquee type name, but when it's like a player like that we really need, we don't. We don't move with the same sort of urgency.
Yeah, I mean, it's Yeah, it's really disappointing. Even with Fred signing for United, it only came about because Pep was really desperate for him. And Mourinho thought, oh, if Pep wants him, all right, then I might as well sign him.
It's the same as Sanchez as well. Do you remember? Because Sanchez was about to join Man City, and then it was like, Mourinho signed him to get one over Pep, and then I think obviously Pep did win that battle in the end with the Sanchez thing. But
100%, and with the Fred thing. But I think this is, we've got to be a bit better when it comes to those type of signings, especially when we need them. We've got to take the risk. It's not about the name; it's about what they can actually do for the club, man.
Also from Jonathan Schrager as well earlier on, Saudaguez is not joining United either.
Oh wow! Okay. Now that guy knows what he's doing. He knows his stuff. Yeah. We're gonna be stuck with that, lads. Sorry to disappoint you. All right.
In all fairness, if Michael Carrick was to dust his boots back on,
and save us from the Fred Happy Meal.
Yeah.
He might as well. Oh, we might as well bring back James Garner back from loan because he had a whole season at Nottingham Forest, I believe it was.
Yeah. Half and half. Yeah, he's at. I think he's at Watford. Then Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, he was at Watford. He didn't. Watford didn't really make much of him. Then he went to Nottingham Forest and just tore up the championship. So.
Yeah. So Aaron Wan-Bissaka, great performance, obviously defensively, but again, the guy is very poor on the ball, man. I have to say, guys, whenever we build attacks and the ball goes towards Wan-Bissaka, I just don't see any hope. I don't see any hope, guys. Honestly, I don't see any hope. Honestly, I'm not being harsh on Wan-Bissaka. I really don't want to be. I want to be fair with Wan-Bissaka. He's a great player when he's defending for us. Yeah, he knows how to read the game. But when he gets on the ball, guys, just pay attention, please. Yeah, look at when he gets on the ball. The ball doesn't move forward enough. I don't know.
But to be fair,
the structure of the team has to be right when we have the ball. I agree with you 100% with all of you guys. Yeah, but Wan-Bissaka on the ball needs to improve massively, man.
Yeah, that would come in time.
That would come in time, but also it wasn't a game for we was under the cosh for majority of that match, so I don't really remember him wasting the ball going forward many times. Really, we didn't really attack down the right
because he was being safe. Every time he got the ball, he was giving it back to Pogba or Varane.
I don't mind that. We still got the ball.
Yeah, that's still cool. Wan-Bissaka,
it's a structural issue.
For me, Wan-Bissaka, because he's so advanced and solid defensively, that for me balances out for him not being, let's say, on Trent's level. Because remember, we're so accustomed to seeing fullbacks nowadays being like Trent, Robertson, these sort of advanced playing fullbacks. Whereas we've got like the traditional right back that can actually defend. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I don't mind.
And to be fair, but let's be honest as well. Trent's an anomaly. He's an actual anomaly. Like, there's not a lot of fullbacks in our league or even in Europe that is that good going forward. So it's not really a stick to beat him with or compare him to him. There's no point.
Yeah. No, I do agree with you. I would rather one of my fullbacks was able to defend the ball properly. Defend and just secure your whole side, But when Luke Shaw disappears, like yesterday, or was it yesterday? Yeah. When Luke Shaw doesn't show up and his attacking prowess is not there as normal, then that's when I noticed Wan-Bissaka not being good. You see what I mean? So sometimes they do balance it out.
All right, that's fine. What's your midfield saying? You've got Rodri in there?
Yeah, I mean. Rodri,
we haven't finished your team yet.
Yeah,
sorry guys. Let me talk about this quickly. Rodri, the reason why I have him in there is because when he wasn't there in City's opening game, they really missed him big time. Fernandinho is not the same guy as Rodri. Fernandinho is not the same guy that he was 3 years ago. I don't think without Rodri, this team goes anywhere this season. Rodri, for me, is the Michael Carrick, is the Roy Keane, is basically everything that City need in order to attack. This guy, he's an unbelievable player. Even when the game was like 3-0, 4-0, he was still tackling. He was still bring down players just to stop the counter attack. And the finish. If he had more shots like that, I think he can score more goals because the placement was just so sweet, man, with the ball. So yeah, man, great player, Rodri. Cresswell, I thought he was good. I thought he was good. Luke Shaw defended well as well, but I just had to go with Cresswell. Um, Gallagher, again, what can I say, guys? You've all
You
had him in your
guys,
team.
except
Fantastic
me,
player. Mhm.
except me, I had Pogba over him, innit?
Oh yes, yeah, you had Pogba for some strange reason.
Should have just called his team Man United. That team.
Basically, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. If you could have had Ronaldo there, you would have.
I would have thrown in Ronaldo just for the sake of it. We've signed
Yeah.
him.
Jack Grealish, I thought he had a good game. Again, the only problem I have with Grealish is he spends too much time on the ball. Release the ball early, and you'll get used to this team. But the goal that he set up for Jack Grealish was fantastic, man. Just the way he drove past three defenders and then just a little layoff. It's like, what you know what? It's whenever they score 5 or 6 goals, guys, just watch the way they score their goals. It's always very similar. And even the Norwich manager, he came out after the match and he said that all of the goals were similar. Like the 3 or 4 of them were just similar type of goals. So I don't know how they get away with it. I don't know what they do to defenders. They just mesmerize defenders and they make them stand there like statues, man. Unless you're Fred or
No, but I
McTominay.
think what it is with City though is the way they move the ball quick and there's a lot of movement. You know, the players are always on the move, and that's why they're always creating openings because they're always making good runs off the ball.
Yeah,
So
but I just love how Grealish just fits into this team. Like he's like he was made to play for this team, especially on that left-hand side, because where they had a lot of issues last season or the season before that was Sterling not stepping up from the left-hand side. Yeah, he had a good tournament for England, but I don't think he had the last 2-3 seasons or the last 2 seasons, I would say, especially last season. I think it was very poor for them. If it wasn't for Phil Foden, I don't think they would have done that well last season, especially in the league. So I don't know what's happening with Phil Foden this season, but is
he's
he injured?
He's just
He's
injured.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, look how well this team are doing with players like Maris coming off the bench, with Phil Foden not even being there. And who was the other guy that came off the bench as well? For the Arsenal game, there was Maris and someone else coming off the bench, and you just think like ridiculous amount of quality, man. Ferran Torres, fantastic player.
Yeah,
I love Ferran Torres, guys. Just amazing. For me, I call him the Spanish Jamie Vardy, man, because the guy, he can run for fun, man.
yeah.
And it was interesting how they played him in the middle and Jesus played on the right. That is something that I wasn't expecting, but maybe that
But
could be
they done that in the last game as well, and I think Jesus can play on the wing as well. So I think that's
for Brazil, you know.
Yeah, but in terms of what you said about Grealish, that's what I thought. That's why I thought for them he was always going to be a better signing for them than Kane, because I know Kane scores a lot of goals and everyone thinks that they need a striker, but they just won the league without a striker, and if everyone chips in with goals like they did last season, then they'll be pretty much there or thereabouts again.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Grealish, in terms of age, is like 25. I think Mahrez is 29. I think Gundogan's around the same age, so is De Bruyne. They probably needed someone like that can come in and be there for the next 4 or 5 years.
He's a superstar, Grealish.
Yeah.
Superstar. He just has the making of a star, man. Unbelievable player. Jesus, yeah, what a performance for this guy, bro. Like, what, 2 assists in this game, an assist the game before that. Yeah, he's
doing the job.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
he's standing around, with City. But again, Pep, this was actually the first time that he played the same team in two games in a row since 2017. Think about that, guys. It's 2017, so he's always tinkering with the team. He's always making changes. But let's see the next game if he does stick to this team. I think they're going to play against Leicester City. He might make some changes. Stones might come in, but let's see about that. Mason Greenwood, you guys have said enough, man. There's nothing else I can say about this guy, man. I love watching Mason Greenwood. I think he scored the most amount of, I don't know, there was a stat that said he's done the most amount of goals since Robbie Fowler. I'm not quite sure which one was. Yeah, do you remember?
First to 30.
The first
teenager to score 30 goals since Robbie Fowler, yeah.
And he's the first teenager to score 3 goals in the first 3 games of the season since Robbie Fowler as well.
Oh,
So,
I think that's the stat actually. No, sorry, that was the stat. Not 30. It was what you said, yeah.
And interestingly, he's the only player at the minute to have scored in all 3 United
kits as well. Yeah, I was about to say that's a good stat.
But and he's like I think in the all-time sort of teenage goal scoring list, I think he's like 4 or 5 off like George. He's either George Best, Norman Whiteside at the top because he's in that sort of top 3 category.
It's probably third. Yeah, it's probably third.
It's good to see. You know what? Because when he was coming through and we was all watching like his youth team goals, he looked outrageous, but you just didn't know whether this can transcend to like obviously men's and first team football, but it is because the goals, his movement, the way he plays, he's frightening off both feet. He's actual like crazy talent.
Yeah.
And I think beyond our Man United bias, I think like if you looked across Europe, I don't think there's a lot of guys his age that are playing like this, man. He's a supreme talent.
Unbelievable. Left foot, right foot, just unbelievable player. Yes, so that's my team done. Trey, any final comments?
Yeah, just you know what, we're looking forward to the season. I definitely feel that signing Ronaldo is going to be the game changer for us, and I feel that Ollie's going to deliver a trophy this season. It's only a matter of time.
Okay, that's a big shout. Ollie to deliver a trophy. So, what percentage are you going to give him? 100%, 90%, 80%?
I'm saying 100%, man. We're getting a trophy.
100% is happening, yeah. What trophy we're talking about here? League Cup, FA Cup, Premier League, Champions League?
Any trophy, man. We just
any. We just need a trophy just to
start it off.
Just to start off the journey, man. The boys need to win something.
United's under 23s are going to win the Papa John's Trophy against the League One side. That's what's happening, lads. We're bringing it home.
Hannibal looked really. Yeah, Hannibal played really well in that last game.
Love that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Great player, man. So, Jesse, any final comments?
Viva Ronaldo.
Viva Ronaldo.
Nathan?
To Arsenal fans, enjoy Luton Town away next season.
There's nothing else to add to that. There's absolutely nothing else to add to that.
They're too good to go down.
Oh my goodness.
The documentary's out, by the way, isn't it? It's coming out, isn't it? The documentary. Their documentary. All or Nothing.
Thing is,
All or Nothing.
Yeah.
You see the description?
I think a Spurs fan made that, but I don't know how they're going to do that this season because are they going to put everything in that's going on? There's no chance.
They have to.
And if it turns into a relegation scrap, are they even going to is it going to come out?
Nah.
Can you imagine it lasting a season?
Maybe they signed a contract.
Big Sam will be in there by that point.
Yeah, maybe it's a contract, man.
We might finally see what Big Sam is like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, guys, yes, let's
we
go.
We all know what he's like behind the scenes. You just spot him in a chippy or in a kebab or something like that. That's what he's going to be like behind the scenes. It's perfectly fine.
Trying to see if Kevin Nolan can come out of retirement.
Oh yeah. Yeah, guys. So listen, Nathan, thank you so much, bro, for joining us. Jesse, again, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Guys, do you want to promote how people can get in touch with you? I know you got your podcast as well. And Nathan, you've got great news for us. Do you want to share it with everyone?
So over the weekend, I got the opportunity to sort of write for the footy accumulators. They also have links to Sky Bet, William Hill, and stuff like that. And I've got basically got a full-time writing gig. So,
Well done.
United's got to deliver a trophy, man.
Hopefully no one at my 9-to-5 job is watching this, but I might not be working there any longer. But it's but no, it's good. Obviously, Trey got some great stuff for his boxing podcast over the last weekend. Do you want to share that?
Yeah, just obviously big up. Obviously, we're doing the Touch Gloves boxing podcast with Never Foul. So we're gonna, change the scope of the online world with our shows, man. So obviously just stay tuned, and the next show is on Sunday.
Absolutely. And Jesse, play to the Rooster podcast.
Yeah.
When is that? When is the next one coming out?
We should have one coming out next week, or the end of this week, actually. Yeah, it's at the PTTW podcast on Twitter and Instagram.
Absolutely. Make sure you guys follow them and keep up with everything else. So, guys, again, like button, hit the subscribe button, and share with your friends. I'm tired, bruv.
I know, it's been a long one. We don't know. This should be called overtime, you know.
Overtime, yes.
Extra time.
Yes, guys. You know what? Thank you so much for joining me again. And until next time, take care.
Take care, man.
Take care, man.
Take care.